You're now tuned in to the Desire to Trade podcast, a show where we bring you the best figures of the trading world and teach you how you can become a successful trader. This is your host, Etienne Crete.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Desire to Trade podcast. Now this week I have, I guess, one of the best traders out there. I think if you want to start trading, you have no choice to go through him. He's like everywhere online. So his name is Akil Stokes. So hi Akil, what are you doing?
Hey, nice to meet you. I'm just finished up a little training lesson and I'm ready to get interviewed. I love this type of stuff.
It's pretty cool. I like it. So Akil, let's start by asking you what's one quote that you live by?
One quote, hard work pays off, I guess I would say. I am a true believer that anything could be accomplished in life if you work hard towards it. So, you know, I actually have a tattoo on my arm that says it. Hard work pays off. You know, if you know, just don't quit. I believe that many people really fail to achieve their goals just because they quit before they get to that chance. I think you got to work through the struggle, and if you work hard enough through it, you'll reap the benefits at the end.
So how would you describe yourself? So who exactly are you and what are you doing?
I am trading wise or just in general?
I would say in general, yeah. In
general, I would say I am a very competitive person. I'm a former athlete. I still compete in a lot of athletic events, but I'm a competitor. I like to win at everything I do, whether it be athletics, whether it be trading, whether it just be life. If there's something where I have a chance to beat someone, I'm going to go for it. It doesn't necessarily mean I need to win, but I'm going to, you know, I like the competition. I believe competition makes everyone better and it motivates us to do our best. So I'm a very competitive person, whether it's trading, whether it's, you know, playing football, whether it's just, you know, we can arm wrestle. It doesn't matter what it is. I like to compete. I like to try and win. That's just my type of personality.
And now trading wise, you said, of course, you're a trader. So you trade, I would say every day, I guess.
Yeah.
And what else do you do except trading?
Well, aside from trading, I coach track and field as well. I was a former track and field athlete. I actually live about 5 minutes from the university that I competed at. So I've been coaching there before I was trading, and I still continue to do that now. I think it's a great release. Again, it feeds that competitive side of me, but also I believe it's very important that you get away from trading. One of the things that, you know, can hurt a trader a lot is just spending too much time in the market. There's no real correlation between time in the market and the money you make, meaning that, you know, someone can spend an hour trading a day and they can make the same amount as someone sitting in front of their computer for 10 hours. What I find is that the more you're in front of your computer and, you know, especially on a day where there's nothing happening, there's more temptation to make mistakes. There's more temptation to try and force trades and really let trading become more like gambling. So any chance I can get away, I like to, you know, I run my trading like a business. I'll trade from, you know, say 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., the New York session. And then I'm done for the day. I get away from my chart. I go enjoy life. I go coach track and field. That gives me that social aspect. And, you know, I'll come back a little bit later and do another round of analysis.
That's pretty cool. I have to agree with that for sure. So now, how did you start trading?
I started trading mainly because I couldn't get a job. I graduated college around the same time as the recession started hitting here, and, you know, mailed off application after application after application. Got no responses. I actually applied to go to grad school mainly to buy myself a few years for the job market to get better. And during that time, I had always been interested in investments. My dad raised me. He always taught me, you know, started off, hey, savings account, go from savings account to a CD to a money market. And the next step was just do some investments in the stock market. And so after I graduated, I started investing in stocks. I had a a mentor, a local mentor that did that as well. He did real estate too, but he did some stock investment. I linked up with him and kind of learned how to invest. And, what started as a hobby really became a career as I got more interested in it. At first, it was more just something for fun. But, as I spent hours and hours in the office watching CNBC and Bloomberg and reading magazine after magazine, I really felt a passion for the markets. And, I wanted to be a full-time stock trader after that.
And how was the start? So, what result did you get from there?
It was good. I started pretty good. I have some regrets now, obviously, and now that I look back, I had no idea what I was doing. At the time, I thought I did. Again, I've got an office, I've got 2 TVs, I've got stacks of newspapers, Wall Street journals, all of the things that you see on TV that a stock trader is supposed to have. But I really had no idea what I was doing. I started off again. My dad told me, hey, invest in stuff you know. And actually, one of the first stocks that I bought was Apple. And I bought the Apple stock at $99 or $90, something around then. And I ended up selling it, I think, at $200, which at the time was great. Looking back at it now, I probably should have held on to it. But I just learned a lot about how the markets work. I did learn a little bit about fundamentals, what to look for. But it was a good introduction to trading for me. It gave me a good foot in the door just to kind of learn about how the field was, how money moves, how it operates. And, I think it was a very good stepping stone to the place I'm at now in my trading.
Cool. And so after that, how was the learning process?
Really, I ended up starting from scratch. I was doing the stock market. I was doing okay, but I didn't have enough money to really make money trading stocks. And unless you're doing penny stocks, it's really hard to make money without a substantial investment. And a friend of mine had introduced me to the Forex market. He said, hey, there's this thing called currency trading where you can trade currencies, and it's kind of like the stock market, but it's highly leveraged. So we can start with a little bit of money and make some money. And at first I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I never heard of this. And I did some research on it. And of course, I fell into the trap of, you hear all the stories about, you can grow your account to $1 million in a year. And I hooked on to that. I said, are you going to tell me I can take a $10,000 account or a $5,000 account, trade currencies, and in a year or two or 5 years or so be a millionaire? I'm in. So I entered it for the same reasons a lot of traders enter it, that get rich quick scheme. I did have a passion for it, but in full honesty, I thought I was going to make a lot of money really quick and, buy boats and houses and, do all the stuff you see on Wolf of Wall Street and all those other movies. But it didn't end up that way. I ended up struggling for quite a bit for a few years, just trying to do it on my own. And it got to a point where really I realized I needed help. I wasn't going to do this. I'm a very stubborn person, so I always think I can do it myself. And I kind of had a reality check that said, hey, this isn't working. Get help. And one of the biggest turning points in my career was I was working 3 jobs at the time. I was teaching. I was teaching in elementary school or working with children that had mental and behavioral disabilities. I was coaching track. And I was also a janitor, so I was cleaning toilets and cleaning banks at night, which wasn't the best situation, but it paid the bills. And then going to grad school at the same time. And I remember it got to the point where I was still looking at trading as a hobby. I wasn't giving it my all, and I made the decision. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit these jobs and focus fully on trading. Just because the type of person I am, if I don't have my back." When my back's to the wall, I'm going to do something about it. So I had to put myself in that position. And fortunately, after I quit the jobs, I was going through the internet, surfing the net for, everything trading related. I came across Forex Trader magazine, and I read an interview about this guy named Jason Stapleton. Went to his site. He had this thing called a trader assessment. I filled it out just for whatever reason. I was bored. I was unemployed, so I had all the time in the world. Filled it out, and surprisingly, later that night, he gave me a call. And what that call did was it identified what my problems were in my trading. So, he would say, hey, how are you trading? I said, well, I usually trade breakouts, triangles, wedges, stuff like that. He said, well, what makes it count as a breakout? And all of my responses to all of the questions he asked was, well, sometimes, maybe, usually, kind of. There was no concrete answer. And we had a conversation and it made me realize that I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I did, but I really, there was no discipline, no consistency in what I was doing. And I ended up, he offered me a free week in his trading course. He said, hey, I have a course I'm running, come in for a week, check it out. Let me know if you like it. And I went in there for the free week. And literally after the first day, I told myself, I said, this is what I need. This is going to make the difference. I need guidance. I need help. I liked his style. This is going to be the turning point. And I kind of immersed myself in that trading and said, hey, I'm going all in. It's do or die time. And let that competitive beast come out of me. I'm either going to win or lose this game. And, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a competitor. I don't like to lose. So I did everything I needed to do, to become successful.
And since then you've been able to generate like a full-time income from trading alone, or?
Trading and education. I was actually,
okay.
It was unfortunate. It took me, even after taking the course, I came out and I started managing money. I had a few connections from the days of, doing stock investments. So I knew a few people that had some good income, levels. And I actually started managing money right when I came out of his course, or a few months afterwards. And I was going to go full time doing that. I was going to manage money, take commissions, all of that fun stuff. And, it was looking pretty bright. Again, I had a client that started off. He gave me, $250,000 to begin with and said, hey, you do what you need to do with this. And if it goes right, I've got 4 or 5 partners of mine that are willing to give you the same thing and more. So I'm counting in my head again. I'm saying, okay, 5 years, I'll be a millionaire. If these guys are giving me, I'll be managing this many $1 million and making this much commission. And, unfortunately it didn't go as planned. Money management didn't go the way I wanted it to. I was actually pretty successful at first, but what happened was, the client just wasn't satisfied. I was making a smooth 2 to 3% return per month, which was my goal. But this particular client wanted more. He said, hey, you're doing good, but I think we should, increase the position size. I'm like, well, if you increase the position size, we increase the risk, and the goal was a slow, steady return. And at the end of the day, he just didn't want to hear that. And, on my fault, I was a little spineless. I was afraid to tell the client that I wasn't going to do this. Back then, I felt that the client is always right. So if it's his money, if he wanted to do this, then, my job is to do it. And what happened is we basically tripled the position size essentially right when the drawdown hit. And one of the stories I always told to my traders is I lost almost $30,000, within a few weeks, and it was pretty tough. And what's worse than that, after I lost it, I had a psychological collapse. I turned the computers off. I was going to throw things and break things. I was just done with trading for about a week. And
only a week?
Yeah. I was going to be done forever. Okay. But after a week, I remember what my mentor told me. I said, hey, stick to the plan. The plan doesn't lie. You got to trade through these drawdowns. The competitor in me says, hey, you're not a quitter. Let's go for it. So a week later, I turned on my computer, and to my surprise, I saw that if I would have just followed my plan and traded through, if I wouldn't have taken that week off, not only would I have earned back the $30,000 that I lost, but I would have earned back another $30,000 on top of that. And that was crushing. That was the worst. And it was at that point where I ended up cutting ties with the client. We just had a difference of opinion. The stress level was horrible. I did make some good money during the time. And I decided, hey, I'm going to go full time on my own, or go at least part time on my own. And I worked on my trading. I went back to the basics, worked on discipline, psychology, and put myself in a position where I could be consistently profitable. Unfortunately, right after that, I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the firm PFG?
Not really, no.
Yeah, I had money in PFG. Mm-hmm. And for those listening that don't know, essentially what happened is they were stealing our money. So just as I restarted and started doing good again, the PFG mess happened. We get an email saying, "Hey, guess what? Your money's gone. Too bad." And it's like, come on. My luck couldn't be any worse. So, it was after that moment I stayed in contact with Jason Stapleton, who was my mentor, and Todd Brown. And they had asked me in the past, "Hey, do you want to do any education?" I always said no. I just didn't feel like I was in the position to be teaching others how to trade. It just wasn't, why me? I was still pretty new to this. And after that, it was actually a little bit before that happened. I actually took him up on that offer. I said, "Hey, I'm going to have to get serious about education." Before I was running a live room, but I wasn't really serious about teaching. I was just kind of doing it to make some supplemental income on the side. After the PFG mess happened, I said, "Hey, I need something else. It's either I go back and get a normal 9 to 5 again, to supplement my income while I'm trading, or I take this education thing seriously, teach others, and really work that like a business." And that's what happened. I got into education, and I just fell in love with it. Just the feeling you get helping other traders learn, and especially when we've had traders that have been hired by prop firms that are teaching themselves. It's just the feeling you get when someone learns from you and they're calling you their mentor, and you see them succeed. It's just an amazing feeling. And, I grew to have a passion for teaching as well.
Mm-hmm. So I want to go maybe into that topic again. So you said teaching. You've started also a blog, right?
Yeah.
So how did that turn out, the blog? Well,
the blog is what actually got me into teaching. I was running my blog while I was a struggling trader. It's had many names over the year, but I was always told that as a trader, you should be journaling and really keeping track of what you're doing, like kind of like a self-reflection. And, being a former football player, I'm like, I'm not going to keep a diary. That's not a manly thing to do. I'm picturing myself with a little pink book writing down, my feelings, and that just wasn't for me. So I said, "Hey, let's start a blog," because a blog post sounds a lot better than journaling or writing a diary. So I started a blog post essentially telling people how bad I was. It was when I started, I wasn't a good trader at all. So I would type in a blog, "Hey guys, today I took a position on euro dollar. Unfortunately, I made this mistake. I took targets off early, and because I did that, left 100 pips on the table. Now I'm angry and mad, and just reflecting on the day." And it wasn't, the purpose of it wasn't really to share it with other people. It was just, again, a way for me to self-reflect, a way for me to get that out of me and learn. And before I knew it, traders, I started getting comments like, "Man, Akil, that's awesome. I did the same thing today. It's good to hear an honest opinion." And the worse I was as a trader, the more people enjoyed it. It was weird. It was like, you guys love my downfalls. But what it was is that people could relate to it. There are a lot of struggling traders out there. We all know the numbers. It's, 90+% of traders fail. So it was kind of a breath of fresh air, I guess, for them to see a trader that was so honest and so transparent with how he was struggling, when most of what you see out there is people bragging, "Hey, doubled my account today," and all of that stuff. And people latched onto it, and I continued to do it. And as I became a better trader, obviously my blog posts got better. I started, really sharing lessons with them. And that's what caught Jason and Todd's attention, saying that, "Hey, this guy's got this big buzz. He's got this big following. He's a former client. We need to put him on a level where he can really impact more traders." So I kind of got into education by accident, just by sharing my thoughts.
And how long did it take for you to build your following?
Probably a few years, I would say probably a few years. It started off slow. But then once, after I started getting a few people following, I just started sharing. I started sharing it on social media, and more people followed, and they would share it with friends and trading buddies. And, probably within a year or two, there was a big following. And then of course, linking up, with Trading Power, that just opened it to a whole different group around the world.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the same topic of failures and mistake, what was your main failure as a trader?
My main failure, well, let's call it a lesson learned. Lesson learned. Like I said, we don't lose. We donate money to the market for future educational purposes. But my main mistake was just thinking about the outcome over the process, meaning that I was more concerned with how the trade ended, more concerned with that than how I actually executed the trade. I always thought that, if any specific trade lost, it was my fault. It could be I could have executed it perfectly. I could have done everything in my trading plan that I was supposed to do. If it lost, it was somehow my fault. And I would beat myself up over that. I would try to find the perfect way to trade and win every single opportunity. And that caused me to make a lot of mistakes. I was taking targets early. I was moving stops back. And I really had to kind of reverse that thought process, think instead of outcome over process over outcome. I had to accept that I have no control over the markets. The market's going to do whatever it wants, whenever it wants to do it. My job is just to consistently execute my plan. And if I do that, I'm not going to win every trade. I'm probably going to lose close to half of the trades that I'm going to take, but that's okay because my plan has a positive expectancy. In the long run, I will make money. And just because a trade doesn't go my way doesn't mean I'm any less of a trader, doesn't mean I'm a bad trader, doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It just means that particular trade just didn't work out. And you got to move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. And today, what is your main trading style?
My main trading style, I do a lot with advanced patterns. So, Gartley's, bats, butterflies, cipher patterns. But I've also been working, over the last really year or so on getting a lot better at structure and price action trading. So support and resistance type trading. So I would say advanced patterns and really support and resistance structure trading.
And trading that in which time frame? Is it the 1 hour?
Both. I do both swing trading and day trading. So I'll trade the 4 hour and the 1 hour for more of my longer term trading. But during the day for a few hours, I also go down to the 15 and the 5-minute charts, even the range bar charts, and look for opportunities there as well. So I do about 3 hours of day trading, Tuesday through Friday. And then I'll swing trade the rest of the time.
And the patterns are working well on the 15-minute chart, or?
Yeah, they work well on any time frame. I actually had a conversation with a trader this morning. They probably work a little bit better on the higher time frame just because there's not as much junk. You don't see as much, as much of the reactions from news events, unemployment claims, and housing numbers and stuff like that. But they work really well on all time frames.
In your opinion, what is the one thing that trader must do to succeed? Those that are struggling right now, what is the one thing they should do to succeed?
The one thing, the magic, the Holy Grail. Let's see. There's a lot of things, but if I had to say one, it's you gotta take action and do something different. I notice with a lot of traders, they repeat the same cycle over and over again. They try one thing, it doesn't work. They move on to the next thing. You gotta do something different. Find out what your mistake is. Find out what am I doing wrong, and then make a conscious effort to fix that. You can't expect for things just to get better if you're not putting yourself in a position to get better. And I think a lot of traders get stuck in that trap where they're repeating the process. They're jumping from system to system, but they're still making the same mistakes over and over again. They've got to be able to identify what mistakes they're making. They got to make a conscious effort to fix those mistakes. And only then, and it's going to be a long journey, but only then will they start to see success.
And what type of mistake would you say are most common for traders?
I would say just going back to the failing thing, just giving up before they have a chance to succeed. We have a great example. I run a syndicate program with Jason Stapleton where we're very transparent with our trades. We essentially share with our followers. It's not a signal service, but we share with our followers every trade we take during the year. And we started off the year very, very well. We shot straight up to about a 40% return by May, and then we just stunk all summer. we were in a drawdown all summer. So we were struggling to break even and even losing money for June, July, August. And that's going to happen with every trader and every strategy. You're going to hit a drawdown, where a time period where you're just not seeing the results you want to see. And what happens is many traders get to that period and they say that, oh, my system's broken. Oh, it's not me. It's not the markets. It's the system's broken. And what they do is they ditch their system and they move on to something new. They start going back on YouTube. Oh, let me try a moving average cross, or let me try this Bollinger Band system. And they basically dump all the hard work that they've been doing in hopes of something else that will work at the time. And then they repeat the process. What their new system does good for a while, then eventually it hits a drawdown like every other system. And then once it hits a drawdown, they can't stomach the pain and they bounce from system to system. And because they just repeat that cycle of inconsistency. So the biggest thing that a trader needs to do is trust their system, trust the back testing, have a belief in what they're doing, and they need to trade through that drawdown. And what we showed them this year is, again, we went through June, July, August, basically losing all summer. And for the last 2 months, we've been able to crank out and get back up to about a 50% return. And it's opened up a lot of eyes because traders are seeing that, hey, it's not always going to be good. Trading isn't always fun. You just don't make $1 million right away. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be great when you're making money. It's going to stink when you're losing money. But you got to be disciplined enough to fight through that. Trust yourself, trust your system, trade through that foggy period. And eventually the sun will come out again. But so many traders never make it through that drawdown period. They get stuck there. They quit, and then they go back to square one. You got to fight through it. That's the only way.
No, it's really good wisdom.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you backtest your strategies exactly? Do you use a software, or do you do it manually, or?
I backtest all my strategies manually, and it is the most it's the most rewarding process in your trading. It's also the most frustrating. I tell my traders that you're going to need to either find about 5 years of data per strategy per pair, or 100 trades at minimum per strategy per pair. And we go through one bar at a time. I'll go back on my chart and I will literally click through the chart one bar at a time, and it's frustrating. You start off back testing. Everyone starts off back testing and they're really excited. Like, this is it. I'm going to really see if my strategy works. I'm going to see how much money it makes. And you have all those dreams, and you get about 30 trades in. And you're like, oh man, this is doing awesome. This is doing great. It makes so much money in these first 30 trades. And then you're like, well, Akil said I got to get to 100. So then it drags on. You're like, okay, winning trade, losing trade. And it's again, you're doing it all manually, one bar at a time. You're entering all the numbers manually. Where did I enter? Where are my stops? Where are my targets? You're analyzing, a million pieces of data, and it just takes an incredibly long time to do. But once you're done it, you have everything you need to know if you do it the right way. You have a belief in that your system has a positive expectancy. You see the numbers. You know the right way to trade it, whether this should be target one or that should be target one, or if I take a full position off here, or maybe I should trail a position. All of those questions are answered for you. Where is the optimal place to put stops? All of those questions are answered for you. And then more importantly, you have a true belief. I think a lot of the mistakes that traders make is they don't really believe their system. A lot of traders will ask, hey, Akil, you trade Gartley Patterns, right? Or I had a guy, we had a Euro-dollar bat pattern the other day that won. And there was a trader on TradingView that was talking to me. He got really, really nervous on it. And he said, well, I've never back tested these patterns. I kind of just took it because, well, I see that you took it. And if you took it, it must be profitable. And technically that's true. I mean, I wouldn't trade anything that's not profitable that I haven't tested. But I know that. I have 100% belief in what I'm doing. So I know that when the drawdown comes, I've been through that in my back testing. I know that I'm going to come out on the right side of things. For a trader that doesn't backtest, they don't really have that belief. They haven't gone through the 100 trades and have seen that during that period, they may have taken 10 losers in a row. So when those 10 losers in a row come in real life, again, they struggle, they make mistakes, they quit. because they don't have that belief that they'll be able to make that comeback. For those who manually backtest, they are 100% confident in what they're doing because it's such a grind. It takes so long. They've seen all the ups and downs of the equity curve during that process. When it happens in real life, they're like, that's normal. It's supposed to happen. It happened before. It's okay. And they continue to trade through those times. So that's why I believe manual backtesting is optimal. It's not even for the stats that you get for it. It's more for gaining that belief and gaining that trust in your strategy. And
do you use any special software or simply your trading platform?
Simply my trading platform in an Excel spreadsheet. Cool. Nice and basic.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you find the result to be accurate when you backtest? Like the return percentage, let's say, or is it different in real life?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate backtesting. It's going to be a little different. Obviously, there's human error in your live trading. In the backtesting, you're never going to miss a trade. I've had times where I've scrolled through and I'm like, wait a minute. Scroll back a little bit. Oh, that was a pattern, and I'll take it. In real life, there are going to be some patterns that you miss where you just don't see it, and you see it later. You're like, I missed it. Some where maybe you're asleep. There's also going to be trading mistakes. Some of it where, you take out profit a little bit too early because you get nervous. Where in the back testing, you say, I'm going to take profit here. And then you always let it go to target one because there's nothing at stake. So there are a lot of human errors in live trading. But for the most part, it's pretty accurate to your back testing, assuming you did your back testing the right way and didn't cheat. I always tell traders to look for the losers. In backtesting, a lot of times traders just want to see the winners. I wouldn't have taken that one because it was a Sunday and I would have been out of town, or, I would have taken profits early this time because they create all the reasons they want to just find the winning trades. I say find the losers. I want to see how bad the system is. If I know it at my worst, right, it can only get better in real life. There's no downside. But for those who are kind of messing with the results, when they don't see those real results, when they don't see those same results in real life, again, it just, they start to get down and they start to quit and abandon the system, and it just leads to a whole bunch of trading mistakes.
Mm-hmm. I like the idea of looking at the bad trade. Yeah.
Yeah. Look for, I try to find as many losers as I can. When in doubt, if there's ever a trade that, just nipped my profit target and then reversed right away, I'll even say to myself, hey, I probably wouldn't have got filled because of the spread, so let's just count that as a loser. I'd much rather plan for the worst in my testing and be surprised with my real life results than, have inflated testing result and then be disappointed in real life.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I've seen on your blog you have a page where it's called your trading library. Mm-hmm. So could you tell us a little bit, just make us a little bit kind of a tour of what's inside your library?
I've got a lot of books. I read a lot. If you ever seen any of my YouTube videos, there's a big shelf behind me with everything from trading for dummies to market wizards. Mm-hmm. But I, there are a few books I recommend. I recommend to a newer trader. I always recommend I do recommend Trade What You See by Larry Pesavento. I think that's an excellent book for those who are interested in patterns, the harmonics, the basics of that stuff. It's a very reader-friendly book. But Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas is one of the best books out there. It's not about trading at all as far as like technical analysis, but it's going to do wonders for trading psychology. And that's where most traders' flaws lie. So Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas is a great book for trading psychology. I also recommend Market Wizards. Market Wizards was a very important book in my trading career, mainly because it allowed me to see that traders are human. For those unfamiliar with Market Wizards, Jack Schwager, what he does, he interviews the best traders of his time, and tries to see, what are the similarities with these traders. And I went into the book thinking that, there's some type of magic system that every trader trades to be successful, or that, these traders have these Harvard degrees and are all geniuses. And when I read the book, I was surprised that each trader in the book had a completely different trading style. Completely different trading style. And none of them were, not none of them, but you didn't have to be very, very highly educated to be a successful trader. And most importantly, many of these traders failed at the beginning. And I'm reading this at the time I'm a struggling trader. And I remember one story where a trader had lost everything. He said he went out to the stairwell, cried, and this is a grown man, cried, and had to call his mom to ask him for money so he can buy back in. And I'm like, it doesn't get any worse than that. It does not get any worse than a grown man crying and calling his mom for money because he blew everything in the market. And if this guy can go on to be a top trader, why can't I? And it kind of opened my eyes that, hey, Akil, you can do this. You can be a top trader. I didn't have the college education for it. I wasn't born into an extremely rich family or anything like that. I'm an average dude cleaning toilets. But you can do this because these other traders did. And that was one of the biggest motivating factors in my trading career, just knowing that, that anyone can do this. Anyone can, with hard work, can be successful at trading and change their life. And fortunately, I've become a living, breathing example of that now. But another good book is One Good Trade, Mike Bellafiore. That's a very, very good book. I recommend every trader read that. He owns S&P Capital, and it's just he talks about trading the right way, in my opinion. Again, process over outcome, journaling. He's not talking about super inflated returns, doubling your account every month. He's talking about what traders really need to hear. And what traders really need to do to be successful in trading. So that's a must read in my opinion as well.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I think those are really good books.
Thank you.
I've been through, I would say, 2/3 of them. So it's a good start. But I'll add that One Good Trade to my list for sure.
That's a must read. I guarantee you'll love it.
Cool. What is the best thing about being a trader?
The best thing about being a trader is the massive amount of no, not the it's the freedom. It's the freedom. Again, I mentioned earlier about time versus money. It's really the freedom to make your own schedule. I trade the hours that I trade because I want to. I'm not forced to. I don't have to report to a job every day. At the same time, I can kind of make my own schedule. Now, you do want to run your trading like a business. So you want to be consistent with when you're trading. But the point is, I trade from, like I said, I day trade from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, the New York time every day. After 11 o'clock, I can literally do whatever I want for the rest of the day. I have a trader friend out in the UK who literally this is how his day goes. He'll set up his day. He'll wake up. He'll identify everything he needs to identify in order for his trading. Takes him maybe an hour or so. He spends the rest of the day either cruising around on a yacht or on the golf course. And while he's doing this, he may check his phone a couple times a day, but he's making a massive income while enjoying his life. So it's the ability to do that. It's the ability to go to the wife and say, hey, you want to go out for dinner or lunch today? Sure. It's the ability to, I've got a 11-month-old in the house. It's the ability to just, hang out with him during the day and just, and play a little bit. It's the ability, is that freedom of time. Because you can always make money back. If I go broke, you can always find a way to make money back. You can get a job and just work more. The one thing you can't get back is time. We all have a time limit, right? We expire at some point. So I'm always a big believer is you want to make the most out of your time. And I refuse to, spend my life, just working the entire time and looking back and say, oh, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. With trading, I can do that. Even if I'm on the road, I can, an internet connection, a computer, I can hook it up and trade from, out in California or something like that. So it's that flexibility and that freedom of time is which I enjoy most about trading.
Mm-hmm. And now I think I'll know the answer to this one, but what's the worst thing about being a trader?
The worst thing? It's tough. It's mentally exhausting. I would say the worst thing is that you're accountable. You're accountable for yourself. There's no boss to tell you, hey, you're doing good, you're doing bad. You're your own boss. And it's very frustrating when the market doesn't go your way. It's very hard to, trade for, take 5 losing trades in a row and then tell yourself, hey, I've got to take number 6. It's dealing with drawdowns is hard. No one likes losing money. It hurts a lot. And that's, the worst part is dealing with that, going through those time periods where you're just constantly losing money. And, it's really out of your control. We don't control what the market does. The market's out there to hurt as many people as possible. We have no control over that. And it's tough not to have that control. It's tough to be 100% right in your analysis, do everything you were supposed to do, and then still see it not come out the way you wanted it to. And that hurts a lot, and it's tough to overcome.
Yeah, I guess that's the answer I was looking for.
Is it?
Yeah, for sure. So how can people find you?
They can find me just if you YouTube search me, just go to YouTube and type in Akil Stokes. I do a weekly video called the Forex Weekend Review. I have over 100 videos on there. Also, if you go to tradeempowered.com, I've actually taken my blog post from the site that you're looking at, I've taken it over to tradeempowered.com. If you go over there, there's the trader assessment, the same one that I took years back. And there's a ton of free training over there. If you click the Learn to Trade tab, we did 2 big webinars over the past few years. One's called Into the Gray. One is called Turning Point. Turning Point in itself is about 15 hours of live training. And what I encourage every trader to check out Into the Gray, check out Turning Point. It's a great introduction, just the technical analysis to show you how to read a price chart, learning how the market moves, and learning a little bit about psychology and money management and the importance of that stuff as well. But it's all free training. If you're a trader and you're listening to this and you haven't checked it out, I would say you're not serious about trading. It's free material. It's, it teaches you the basics. Check it out.
That's true. It's like three days of content, right?
Yeah, it was a live event we did out in Kansas City for I think it was a 4-day live event where we did about 3 hours of training a day, including some live Q&A, and it's all recorded. And it was an awesome time, and it's up there for free.
Cool. What goals do you have for the future?
Me, I just want to get better at trading. I want to continue to get better. I live by a philosophy. It's called the Kaizen philosophy. It's a Japanese philosophy for continuous improvement. And what it means is just get a little bit better each day. So I believe that we're never going to master the markets. No one's ever going to figure out the markets 100%. But I'm going to try and get a little bit better each time, get a little bit more efficient with my structured trading. Patterns kind of are what they are, but more efficient with stop losses, with targets. Just continue to get better as a trader and better as an educator as well. I actually have a training course that I'm working on redoing. Not necessarily, the content's going to be the same, but I've got a better camera now. I've got a better studio set up, so I'll just making it look more viewer friendly. So I'm excited for that, and I just want to give my followers the best possible content available. Until I'm considered the best, I don't have to be the best trader, but until I'm considered the best educator out there, I'm going to keep finding ways to get better.
Mm-hmm. You have any idea when that course will be released?
Well, the course is available now with the new recordings. Hopefully, first, maybe early second quarter, 2016, maybe after March. I've got to decide again. I'm probably going to add a few bonus lessons to it. But essentially, I want to just do it. I bought this expensive camera, so I want to use it. So I want to make it. And I think traders get a lot more when they can actually put a face to things as well. So I think seeing my face and seeing the emotions that I have when I talk about this type of stuff just it makes them feel more comfortable. It's like, hey, this guy, he really went through this. He really cares about us. And obviously you guys can hear that in my voice, but just to have that face-to-face contact, I think it just adds a little bit more to it. So hopefully second quarter 2016, that will be out. And of course, for anyone that's a client already, they have lifetime access. So they'll get the newer version as well.
All right, Akil, I have one last question for you.
Yep.
Before, I just want to remind the listeners that they can check out the show note at bizarretrade.com/Akil, AKIL. And also check out tradeempower.com to get all the training Akil mentioned today. So here's my last question. If you could give only one piece of advice for a new trader, I would say one sentence. What would that one sentence be?
That one sentence, if I had to give advice, one sentence, it would be that I believe that the only reason traders fail is because they give up before they have the chance to succeed. That's in big, bold print in my trading plan. And again, I believe that the only reason traders fail is because they give up before they have the chance to succeed. So don't give up.
It's so true. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Desire to Trade podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Desire to Trade podcast. To get all the information on this show, free articles, and unique resources, make sure to check out www.desiretotrade.com and subscribe. Please leave us a review and let us know what you thought about the show. It's time to become the best trader you can be. See you next time.